So I went to his apartment. It was off of Toilet Boulevard. And we made out a little more, but I moved his hands away from my different areas. I wouldn't even let him touch. Basically, I let him kiss me. I decided, after not kissing someone for over 6 years, I decided, I think with the influence of a little alcohol, that I would let someone kiss me. But I had told him ahead of time. He knew I was a virgin. I said, I'm a virgin and I don't want to do anything, before I even went to his house. And so I just want you to know that this is where I stand. So he knew that ahead of time. He had very clear understanding. And I made sure that he didn't touch anything past my thighs, or even really my thighs. I kept moving his hands away. And then when I was in his apartment, he got me on the ground, and then I was wearing jeans and a shirt, and he held me down, and then started to unzip his mask, and tried to do the same to me, and I said no, and I tried to push him off, and I did fight against him, and he had me pinned down. And I said, I mean it. I said, stop. I didn't just say no, I said stop. And I got louder, I started yelling. And I was worried because there was no one else in the apartment. I didn't think anybody could hear me. And I kept trying to push up. It was underneath him. I kept trying to push him away and off. And I did fight. But he pinned me down. He's very strong. And pinned me down with his legs and his whole body in different ways. Positioned over me, and then he still had a knife with him. And he started to get violent. He talked and yelled at me in a violent way, so I then got scared, very scared that he was going to use the knife, which he had on him. So when I kept fighting and I couldn't get out from under him, and then he got violent and yelled at me, I thought about the knife, and then I just went numb, and I played dead. I almost I just froze up, because I was worried that since I'd already tried to fight him off, and he wasn't stopping, he was getting angry and violent, I was worried he was going to kill me. So I went into this weird, altered state where I just distanced myself from my body. I mean, it wasn't like I was outside of my body. But I suddenly told myself, I I think since I couldn't do anything about it, I think I tried to tell myself. I don't know. I think my mind wanted to trick me, which I later found out is not uncommon with rape victims. I then didn't want to accept the idea that I was really being raped. It was too incredible for me to believe, so I tried to believe that this was what I wanted after I'd already told him no and told him I didn't want to. And when I was forced to play dead, I never agreed or consented in any way after that point. But in my mind, I think I tried to tell myself I wasn't being raped. Like it wasn't happening. While it was happening. So I was raped. And then afterwards he said, "So what would your dad think to know you were raped by a Jew?" And if I had refused to be girlfriend, boyfriend with Robin Bechtel because he was Catholic all that time, and then I'd waited 6 years for the right person looking for a Protestant Christian man, there's no way that I would throw my virginity away that I'd preserved so long and carefully on somebody who was of a different faith than me, who was a Jew, who I worked with sometimes in an E&M department at the college. So then what happened after that, I already talked about a little bit. I already discussed how I called a bunch of different pastors and thought that maybe I had to stay with him and that kind of thing afterwards, and I was in shock. I was really in shock. After that occurred, I was still in shock because then I thought my self-esteem was really down. And then I sort of went into a relationship with someone for a short time that was intimate, and I think I did it to block things out. I'm not sure why, but I think I felt like I was ruined with what he had done and ruined me. And then I was really angry with God. I saved. I did the right thing and I saved. I was so careful all those years. And then you allowed this to happen to me. So in a way, this relationship that I went into was like a way of trying to get back to God. I'm really sorry I'm crying, because it's really unattractive and kind of pointless. So I was kind of still in shock, and I mean, I did enjoy aspects of that relationship, that I did it, sorry about it just being extremely, I got very hardened. After that experience, I felt very shocked and then angry with God, and then hardened and distanced. And then I had some counseling. I went voluntarily to have counseling for 3 months. And then I realized that I still had the same principles and values, and I can still go back to that. So, got over it, broke up with this guy, and he was upset. He thought that I was breaking up with him for one reason, but it was just because I felt like, well, just because this one thing happened and this happened doesn't mean that I don't still believe the same thing. So then I went back to what I believed in and felt like it wasn't my fault. I was beginning to accept some of that. And I didn't report it to anyone except for a medical doctor. When I went to get checked later for STDs because I was worried. And then, after another 8 months or so, then I was at a Thanksgiving kind of high school friend reunion. We used to get together, and I still didn't drink. I didn't go back to, I didn't start drinking at that time at all. I did on that one occasion. I thought it wouldn't hurt a little, but so we were out with a bunch of trusted high school friends that I'd known forever, and I had told Robin Bechtel that it happened to me at some point. I told him that I had been raped and that he had been the only person that I'd been with for such and such a time. And he seemed really upset by it over the phone, in a way. It sounded like he was kind of upset, or he didn't really sound upset. He sounded more like surprised that I hadn't been with anybody except for him. So, since I was with a bunch of trusted friends and I had, no women around, we're in a public setting, I decided, well, what the heck, I'll have, everyone was drinking. They were all coming back from college. Everybody was drinking except for me. And I decided, well, I'll go ahead, and someone offered to buy me a drink, and I went ahead, and probably doesn't hurt, as we're all trusted friends. So I did, and then I think I had another one, and maybe another one. I got really drunk. And meanwhile, longtime friend, so I thought, Robin Bechtel, he wasn't drunk at all. He was playing slot games in a video arcade. He won some money. Can't remember how much he won, but he got some money playing slots. And he was very intent on that, and then I noticed when he saw I was drunk, I noticed that he started really studying me, looking at me, and now I realized that it was an opportunity. He was looking at his opportunities, and he said he'd go ahead and take me home since I couldn't drive, and then I believe he said, well, you could just stay overnight at such and such a place, and then I can take you home. And I said, okay. And then what happened is that he raped me. And I didn't fully know that I didn't understand that it was a rape, because I didn't realize what the law was, that if you're totally drunk, really intoxicated, and you're unable to consent. And I didn't know that, but he knew that. He'd been to Claremont McKenna College. They gave sex education instruction.